Allard. She's the high vibe honey.
Yep, that's me.
Amongst other things. And Mike Mooney, of course.
I'm back. It's hot one out there.
The one and the only, the infamous.
Find a cool place to enjoy the show.
Yes. Sit outside on your deck with a drink and, tune in.
Or somewhere where it's air conditioned.
Whew, man. I'm sweating. It's just me being near Mike.
I have that effect on people.
Oh my God.
Okay.
We have to get serious.
We have some topics. It's tough. It's going to be a tough one to get serious today, but
yeah, it is.
We had some topics that we had to expunge from the record. They just weren't appropriate for today's show. We'll have to put them in another show.
Yes.
Maybe when we're doing our podcast in my basement or something. I'm not sure.
So
clueless. I don't know.
Okay.
Over my head.
The guests can't be enlightened about that stuff.
Sometimes it's better that way.
Yeah.
So, do you want to start with your little?
Not much to start with today.
Talk about the meat thing.
Oh, the meat thing.
So,
I'm dabbling with a little more whole plant-based food. So 4 months, just about 4 months, without consuming any red meat, chicken, pork, that kind of thing.
Dairy.
Well, dairy. Listen, it's hot. I'm an ice cream connoisseur.
We live near Buttonwoods.
So yeah, I've been slipping on that one a little bit, but overall, definitely no intake of meat, other than some fish and some seafood. So, a lot of joint pain has gone, and it's a journey. It waxes and wanes. So some days are better than others. But I really have no desire at this point. And I was a real big consumer of red meat.
You're the carnivore of all carnivores.
And then I started getting, stage 1 hypertension, elevated blood pressure, that kind of thing. So I wanted to dabble with it, and I'm just still going with it. So we'll see how that goes. Stay tuned for an update, and
Do you feel healthier?
Maybe another 4 weeks. I feel healthier, when I'm not eating the ice cream, But
Yes.
everyone has their weak spot. But anyhow, look, so between that and trying to get to the gym on a regular basis, or my job is actually pretty physical in and of itself, so that and getting treating my disc issue at my chiropractor, which, by the way, I think he'll be a guest on soon enough. Part of the treatment was PEMF, which is pulsed electromagnetic frequency. So if you've never had that, it's pretty intense. So they set frequencies with magnets, and it's quite the machine, and you can lay on a bed that does it, and they have a big square mat. Have you ever had that?
Mm-hmm.
You have?
Yeah.
And what was the reason, and 2, what was the feedback that you have?
So it was actually because I had gotten into a car accident maybe 2 years ago now, and I got whiplash pretty bad. And so when I went to the chiropractor, they had kind of scheduled this whole thing for me. And when I went, and they did this electromagnetic pulsing in my neck, and she was turning it up and up and up, and she was like, "You don't feel anything from that? You should definitely be feeling something by now." And I'm like, "No, I don't feel anything." So she turned it up, and I don't know exactly what the wattage was, but I did a couple sessions of that, and then I was fine. Basically, it was kind of like my muscles were just so tensed up and from the accident that when all the electricity kind of went through and it was pulsing, and it kind of ended up making my muscle release on its own after a few sessions. So, I don't have any pain at this point, which is really good.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so.
Did they also do traction for you, or as well?
I'm not sure.
No. So, as far as the lumbar area, L4, L5 is what I am dealing with, they put you on a traction table and stretch you out a little bit. And they also do that for cervical, as well. But the PEMF is really pretty amazing. So I've probably had at least 15 visits, and I'm pain free at the moment, which is good.
Yeah.
So the other little tidbit that I wanted to share was every day, I'll say a little silent prayer, just asking for people to pop in my path that, if I'm capable of helping them out, that I can help them out. Doesn't always happen, but today I was at the gas station at the end of my workday. So I'm like, it's hot. I think I'm going to go grab an ice cream at the gas station while I fill up my truck. So I'm filling up my truck, and then I see this small car pull in, and this young kid gets out, and he yells over to me. He goes, "You're not going to believe this, but," he goes, "I'm about ready to run out. I'm on empty. I have no wallet with me." He was working for the state of Connecticut. Must be a summer job that he was working for. So he had a state car, and with an empty fuel tank. Typical of Connecticut, though, I must say. With their budgeting and stuff. But I don't want to get into politics. Politics is not too spiritual. So anyhow, he asked me if I could put a gallon of gas in his car. So after I was done filling up, I just took the nozzle over on the other side and threw some gas in there. And he gave me this nice gift. He was in charge of doing something with boaters, and he had this packet of information for boaters with a spill kit. He had this, I don't know, he had something inside to absorb gasoline if they spilled some. So I got a spill kit today in case I spill some gasoline.
Nice.
In your boat.
And he got a gallon of gas in a state car so he could get back to where he was. So it was good. He was appreciative, and it was pretty funny. But anyhow,
Only you. Zachary.
crossed my path.
Go
So,
Zach.
Yeah, so, okay, that's it for me. I'm passing the baton.
Okay. So I wanted to talk today about the signs of spiritual awakening and being of a higher vibration. This year is different in that we've already had 2 retrogrades, Mercury retrogrades. We have one more coming in, I think it's in December, and it's really wreaked havoc with everybody's energy. In fact, you asked me last week, was there something going on? Because I feel all out of sorts. And it was, it's been an interesting few months. So, and the average person can feel these things. You just may not realize what's happening to you. And this is just a shift in you energetically to a higher vibration, which brings you up into what we call the fourth dimension. And as humans and as Earth, on the Earth plane, we exist in what we call the 3rd dimension. So that's the physical dimension. We're very physical in this one. We have bodies, and as you go up higher, you lose that. You lose your physical body. So it's almost like the death process, but not quite the same, because your soul still lives on. So some of the signs, I'm not going to get into all the details of it, but there's 11 signs. It says 11 signs you're going through a major spiritual shift. We are all beings of pure energy. Our bodies are condensed vibration, and everything around us is condensed vibration. Knowing this, it is not difficult to understand that this energy shifts, and with it, our consciousness and DNA as well. What is shifting spiritually? Regardless of whether you are spiritual or not, the energetic shift is something that is happening to everybody. It is a shift that has awakened many and is reshaping our societies. If you compare yourself to the person you were a few years ago, you will notice how your consciousness has risen to a higher level, or at least we hope it has. The rise in consciousness is happening on a global level, and everybody is awakening at their own pace. So how do you know if you're going through this major spiritual shift that is affecting our planet? And part of the purpose of this, of what we're doing here on Awakened Soul Stories, yes, he keeps shifting my flowers, is that we're hoping to reach as many human beings as possible and to enlighten them and help them to raise their vibration. Because of all the negativity in the world, it's kind of like the human race is on the precipice of falling off that cliff. So our job as spiritual beings and light workers, and the work that we do, is to pull them back from that, to help them ascend a bit more and not be so heavy, because the energy on earth is extremely heavy. So increased sensitivity to sound. So that's one of the signs. Number 2 is forgetting things you usually tend to remember. So if you think you've lost your keys 12 times in a week, it's probably a little more than that is going on. So just kind of be aware of it, and that's why I want to talk to you about it, is to make you aware that it's not just because we're getting older or you're losing your mind or you had a hard day. I mean, that could be some of the reasons, but there are other reasons and other forces at play here. Frequent changes in mood.
Oh, that'd be me. So.
Changes of heart about many things. And I'm going to read this one because this one's interesting. From old friends to your current ambitions or workplace, these things were something you strive to achieve, and suddenly you are having a change of heart about almost everything you believed in. You are awakening from the illusion you have been building around yourself. Accept the change and follow your heart. So basically, follow your heart and follow your intuition, because if your gut is telling you that something doesn't feel right anymore, then it's time to step back a little bit and take a look at it and figure out what about that situation or that person or whatever it is doesn't feel right anymore, and how you want to shift that energy. Because you have the power to do it. It's not like somebody has to come in and help you do it. You have the power to do this. The problem is that most people aren't aware of what's going on. So again, this is why we're here, is to help you become aware. And number 5 is increased empathy. So like Mike was just talking about going to the gas station. Some people may have just been like, yeah, this is a scam, I'm leaving, I'm not helping you. Helping your older neighbor rake her lawn or mow her grass, or just and not necessarily feeling bad for people, but feeling for people, and putting yourself in their shoes and really understanding where they're coming from. So instead of cutting someone off in traffic because they made you angry, you just have to kind of step back a little and think about maybe they had a bad morning, or what happened to them to make them so upset. So it's about putting yourself in their shoes and really feeling their pain, so to speak. And number 6, vivid, lucid, and prophetic dreams. So it's dreams that, not the dreams that you don't remember, it's the dreams that you do remember. And so when you're in that dream state, things, it doesn't feel like a dream. Things are really happening. And you'll see people that you really know in situations that are familiar to you. And a prophetic dream is a dream that you will never forget any of the details. Even 20 years from now, it's something that you will always remember. And that's how you know it was a dream that was basically a prophecy about something that's happening in the future, or whatever the situation may be. And the same thing, we talked about lucid dreaming a couple of weeks ago with Victor Moffitt was here. So these are dreams that, pay attention. And the best way to really understand your dreams is, as soon as you wake up from a dream, write it down. Don't even wait. Don't think about it. Just write it down. You don't have to go back and reread it, but just kind of keep a dream journal. And that will help you as well when you go back in 3 or 4 weeks to read all your dreams, to really understand what's going on, because there will be a story there, and there'll be patterns, and you'll say, oh, okay, I didn't see that while I was awake, but now I totally understand it. And messages, there's lots of messages in dreams as well. Abrupt change in personality. So it seems that your old self has somehow faded and you have taken on a completely different mindset, attitudes, and personality traits. You feel like you are not the same person and your past feels blurry and irrelevant. You have acquired some wisdom that you cannot explain with plain words. So if that starts happening again, the best way to document that is to journal everything. Because sometimes in the moment it seems a bit overwhelming when this information comes in. So you're not really going to remember it because when you're in a heightened state, you're just not capable of absorbing that information. So if it's something that you feel like that you want to remember, just write it down. It's journaling is pretty important. And then you can see exactly what's happening with your personality. And I don't think they mean like schizophrenic kind of things, but just approaching things differently, speaking, the way you speak to people is a little bit different,
Viewpoints.
Yes.
Different viewpoints.
Right.
Yeah. I have probably 5 different journals going right now. I do a lot of journaling.
Oh,
but
wow.
I wanted to touch on what you were saying about the journal by the bed. So when you wake up in the morning, you write it down. I always have like the most profound messages come to me in that time between sleep and awake. And when you're in that moment, I feel like you have this, like you're in it and it's so profound and it's so there that you know you're going to remember it. You're going to remember it. And then when you wake up in the morning, it's not there anymore. And I'm like, I knew I had something really good. I knew I had something great to talk about, something that I channeled in, but then I lose it. So yeah, having the journal next to the bed, I'm going to start doing that because I think there's a lot of insights that I could be documenting.
True.
Yeah.
True. What about you? Do you journal?
I'm curious. If you have 5 journals, how do you know what information goes in what journal?
That's why I have so many different journals. I know it's kind of silly. So I have one that I do like things for the day, things that tasks. And then I have one for like business. And then I have another one for goal setting. And then I have another one for like working through limiting beliefs and some stuff like that, because I don't really like to keep them in the same, they're all so broad. There's so much to talk about in each of them that I feel like I'd like to be able to reference each one almost like different parts of a dictionary.
And so do you jot down stuff in each journal every day?
Probably not every day, but like every week I probably get to each one of them. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It's a lot of, well, I don't know. That's just how I work.
But you're very detail oriented.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, that's kind of cool though. Me, I would just put all in one and try to figure it out later.
Yeah, I just feel like when I started doing that, I was doing a lot of manifesting and trying to raise my energy, raise my vibration. And I realized that if I was just writing out stuff about a limiting belief or some healing that I was like trying to work through or something like that, I didn't really want to mix up the energy of that with what I'm trying to create. So that's when I decided to branch off into 2 different journals. So that's how it started. And then I was like, well, okay, I've got one for tasks, and then, well, I can't find the other one right now, so we'll start this one. And yeah, I have so many journals. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Whatever works.
Yeah.
So number 8 is pressure between the eyebrows and frequent headaches. So this is basically where your third eye is, or what we call the third eye.
Right here.
Right there. We don't need to draw it. Oh my God. So anybody that knows the chakra system, or the belief in the third eye, so it's like what these eyes don't see, this one does, right? So it's a feeling, a gut instinct, a message that you may receive. We're going to go into that in more detail in the future, but because it's kind of a complex thing, and it's not it's not necessarily a physical thing. So try to explain that to some people. But we will explain that. So pressure, again, and headaches. If you're not normally prone to headaches and you start getting them, it's probably a shift. We have a phone call. Number 9 is tingling sensations. And this can occur anywhere in the body. So your feet, your fingers, sometimes you get it like, it feels like butterflies up here, or, you know, in your head. Sometimes you'll feel tingling for no reason, kind of like a light case of pins and needles. So that's just your vibration of your body, of your physical body and your etheric body and your psychic body. It creates, you know, that tingling sensation wherever the energy needs to move. So that's number 9. And number 10, and you just touched on this, so this is interesting, a quicker recovery. So if, you know, you tended to get sick before and, you know, you had a cold for 7 days or whatever the case may be, you'll see that, you know, all of a sudden your body is healing itself quickly. You know, 2 or 3 days and your cold is gone, or your sore throat's gone, or your backache's gone, or whatever the situation may be. So again, pay attention to that stuff, because it's not just because it's because your body is vibrating at a higher level, and when you vibrate at a higher level, healing takes place a lot quicker. And number 11 is synchronicities. So this is, again, this talks about seeing 11:11 on the clock or wherever, 22:22. You might see 444, like patterns of numbers or patterns of letters. And it could be anywhere. It could be on a license plate. It could be on a building. It could be all of a sudden you just see it in your mind. Every time you look at the clock, it says 11:11. And this is all the universe's way and the angel's way of sending messages to you and letting you know that, you know, your vibration is higher, so you're in tune to receiving these messages. So pay attention to that. And again, if you have, you know, journal like Devon does, you know, write this information down. Because, you know, after a while, you'll look at it and say, you know, all of a sudden I saw 11:11 12 times in one day. So, you know, there is a reason for that. You can look all of that up. The internet is full of information about angel numbers and patterns and synchronicities, and it'll give you more information than you probably ever wanted to know. So going through a major spiritual shift can be extremely exhausting. If you are trying to fight it off, instead, accept that you are climbing toward a state of higher consciousness and awareness, and love yourself more. So I'm going to leave that with that. If you have any questions, you're certainly welcome to put them in the chat. I don't know if Mike is checking the chat, but
Mike's checking it.
I want to introduce Devon anyway. Let's get on with our guest here. So I met Devon back in, I can't remember the year, but I think it was between 2014 and 2015.
I think that's probably right. Yeah.
And you were young.
Yeah.
You were so young. We were working together at Jared's jewelry store, right? Which was kind of in and of itself kind of a negative environment. It was
a little bit, yeah.
It was a little negative, but there were a couple of people there that were that always, you know, I still stay in touch with to this day, and you're definitely one of them.
Yeah.
And Sahara is the other one. So, but I knew when I met her that she was special, and we had a lot of deep conversations during our long hours of standing on our feet. And and back then you were just becoming interested in the spiritual world.
Yeah.
And you had a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And you had a lot of questions about stones and crystals and all of that. So I thought that was great, because I like to see this next generation come in and you know, things are so much more acceptable now than they were when I was your age. So you're coming in at a really good time. And I believe she's got psychic abilities. So that doesn't mean she does. It just means that's, you know, the energy around her. I always found her to be a very kind, considerate, spiritual, curious, and loving person. And you're definitely fairy energy.
Yeah.
So we fast forward 6 years, and she is now a mother. She has a photography business, a wedding business. She is the content coordinator of High Vibe Honey. I call it the High Vibe Honey movement.
Oh.
She's a spiritual mentor, and she's also learning now to tap into her intuitive abilities, right, and tarot, and anything that goes along with that. So apparently you've found your true purpose in the world.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us about yourself, Devon.
Oh, my goodness. Well, where do I start? You covered the beginning of it, at least.
We'll get into the meat and potatoes of it.
Yeah. So, I think I realized that my true purpose was actually to help people, and I knew that very early on. But I think because of conditioning and societal norms and things like that, I was nervous and afraid to actually dive deep into it. And, just the fear of the unknown. But then I recently, very recently, just kind of threw caution to the wind and decided, okay, this is what I'm here for, and I don't feel fulfilled unless I'm doing it, so I have to just start doing it. And I could get emotional about it. That's part of my thing, is that I get really emotional when I'm feeling a lot of love, feeling a lot of connection. I'm just super empathetic. So, but I started a group on Facebook for women who are going through an awakening and curious about the spirituality, curious about manifesting, raising their vibrations, everything like that. And over even the last couple of days, I've seen an outrageous amount of growth. I've made some amazing connections with women, and it just means the absolute world to me to create a safe space for these people, these women, to learn and connect and grow, and it's just super, super exciting. So that's what I'm doing right now.
In the wedding business.
And the wedding business, yes, the wedding business is really great. I actually got started doing that 2 years ago now, and I do the photography on the side as well, just because that's something I'm really passionate about, but so is the wedding decor and everything like that. And I wanted to do something where I could work from home, doing something that I really liked, and be able to stay home raising my child. And so I'm okay, well, what do I really like? What do I really enjoy? So it was the wedding business. So I started doing that, getting creative and doing things with my hands. I love making things beautiful with my hands. And so I started an Etsy business, and that took off. And a couple of weeks after starting that, I was able to quit my job serving and do that full time. And that's what I've been doing ever since. And it's just been an absolute blessing to be able to do all of that.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. It's busy, but it's certainly fun.
Sure, especially this time of year.
Yeah, yes, it is.
And your photography isn't your typical, for pictures. They're not just pictures. She builds this picture with a story, and by the time she's done, it was. And we had this conversation last time you came to see me about. I was saying about the fairy energy. Both her and her daughter Her daughter is like a little fairy as well. And then she proceeds to tell me she took this picture, and then she sent me her copy of it, and it was so beautiful. And her daughter had this wand with all these stars, and it was just
Yeah. I just dressed it up kind of. Because I love that energy. I love that vibe. And since you kind of pointed that out to me, it kind of everything just clicked. I was oh.
Like synchronicities.
Yes, that makes sense. And I started playing with that energy. That my daughter, she had this stick, and she was in this pose, like she was, doing something magical. And I did a little. It looked like fairy dust or something coming out of the magic wand, and that's still the background of my phone. It's my favorite photo.
It's beautiful. The picture's beautiful.
Thank you.
That's not, it's talent, but that's something that comes from within.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, Use it for your whole, all of the stuff that you do.
Oh, I
'cause
do.
It's just so amazing.
That's like my basis. That's why I started learning photography too, is to be able to, I just love making things beautiful. I love having an idea in my mind, or, an image in my mind, and being able to recreate that is like the most exciting thing. I love doing that.
Do you have questions?
Well, let's talk a little bit about the group, the women's group.
Yeah.
So, how did this come about? And, when you have someone that comes on board into this women's group, what are some things that you share with them? And as far as information, do you point them in a particular direction? Are there authors or books or people that, maybe you've read that have helped you along the way that you share with them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I've had a few people reach out to me over the last few days, actually. And so it's a new group. It's only been open for maybe a month at this point. But what I try to do is deliver them content that's going to help them evolve in a spiritual or emotional progression. So I like to actually kind of figure out what it is that they are dealing with, what they're managing, and I'll do that by creating a post asking them, what their biggest struggles are, what's going on, and then I'll just kind of tailor make content and posts for them, specifically for them, that will help them. I'll also do, I have a gratitude challenge coming up, so that's going to be really fun. It's going to be 21 days, and basically it's just going to be a prompt every day for journaling on gratitude to help raise their vibrations, get into that energy of like love and positive vibes, and start, transcending into that higher vibration. I have been into, there's so many books that I could reference. That's basically what I do in all my spare time, is reading books and doing courses and stuff like that. So I'm always willing to deliver whatever information I can in whatever situation that they need it.
So in regards to manifestation, you talk about manifestation. So if there were, what would be your top 3 go-to books on, manifestation?
Well, okay. The first would obviously be The Secret, because that's the one that got me going. That's the original, but I think that there's a lot that goes after that. So number 1 would be The Secret. Number 2, it was one by Gabby Bernstein. I can't think. Oh, Super Attractor. I read that last year. That was a really, really good one. And then there's another one. You can't swear on here, can you?
No, this is public access.
Yes. So there's one
this out.
called You Are a Bad fill in the blank.
Fill in the blank.
And it's a yellow book, and that's basically all about manifesting and stuff like that. It's a really good one. I forget who wrote that though, but she has a whole. There's a few different books that she came out with that were really, really good. So, yep, Gabby Bernstein, The Secret. The Success Principles by Jack Canfield are really good too. Yeah.
Any Esther and Jerry Hicks?
Oh, I am all over their YouTube videos all the time. Yes, absolutely.
The Art of Manifestation.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I have a few of those. Usually, sometimes if I find myself in like a lower energy, I kind of just gravitate to, you could type in on YouTube whatever it is you're dealing with, and then their names, and there will be a video about it. And you'll immediately get into like the vortex or get into a higher energy right after that. You'll learn to look at it from a different perspective. Yeah, they're great.
Eckhart Tolle, any readings from him?
I haven't done too much reading by him, but he's on the list.
Yeah, right. That
Need a
sounds
lot
good.
of time.
Need a lot of time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information out there,
Mm-hmm.
and you just have to go and get it.
Mm-hmm.
What was this manifesting 2K in 48 hours?
Oh, yeah. It was just something that I did. So
That you personally did?
Yeah. Yeah, through my business. So, okay, I just had I was running, so I have my private group, and then I had a group of 8 women that had signed up to do a private immersion with me. And so it was 30 days of videos, content that was going to really raise their vibration. And it was really, really in depth. So different from the main one that I have. It was just a little bit more focused. And so in that group, I was giving out, I think, so it might have been on day 25. But everything that I was giving to the girls in my group, I was doing the same thing at home. So I don't like to teach without, doing the same thing alongside them, because at least that way I can feel like I'm,
Right.
I know what they're dealing with. I know what they're going through at the time. And it helps me relate to them and construct the program better tailored to them. So anyway, I'm doing this thing, and it was, I think, day 26 or so, and it was less than 48 hours, I made over $2,000 in sales on my Etsy page, which is super exciting. And it wasn't all about money, but I think money, making money, manifesting money is a byproduct of feeling good.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've read, and heard that, money is an acronym that stands for my own natural energy yield.
Yeah.
So, it's all about how you think about it. So, manifesting money is no different than manifesting other forms of happiness or those types of things in your life.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with money. Money is, is a way to, help other people.
Yeah.
So
For
it's
sure.
it's not, as some people would say, the root of all evil. It's it's what you do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think some people have when it comes to manifesting, if somebody has the idea of manifesting, they think money, because everybody thinks money is going to be the thing that will help them feel better. It'll buy the experiences that they want to have. It'll, just solve everything, but that's not true at all. Money, I think, is an amplifier. So, if you have troubles, then you'll just have troubles with money. Or if you aren't good with money, you're still not going to be good with money if you end up manifesting it into your life. It's just an amplifier. So it's like when you do the spiritual work, when you do the spiritual healing, when you kind of surround yourself in love, when you are in the energy of gratitude, when you're doing the things that you're passionate about, when you're just feeling great, it's kind of just naturally attracted to you, and it's not even anything that you're worried about. It's not even anything that you're focused on. It's just something that happens. You're content, you're safe. If you're in the, situation where you are comfortable, you'll continue to stay comfortable, and you'll continue to have, positive experiences come into your life, whether that be through finances or otherwise.
Like I say, keep it circulating.
Yeah.
Right? It comes in, keep it circulating. I think that's an important part to
It
it.
is an important part to it.
You
So, do you feel like mankind needs to raise its collective consciousness?
Completely. Absolutely.
What does that look like for you?
Just everybody living healed, being healed, and trusting each other and helping each other, and kindness. Everybody kind of living in the best version of themselves. That's what that looks like to me.
But I think that, if we can reach that point where you know, we pull mankind back from that precipice. And the vibration is raised, which naturally will occur when if we can accomplish something like that. It's definitely a goal, and it's not just, you know, 3 of us. There's millions of people that want the same goal. But it, you know, the byproduct of that will be people won't be sick. You know, illness will go away, and stress will go away, and
a much bigger,
yes.
on the much broader spectrum,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, so it should, you know, if people, you know about this and realize that they can be part of it, you know, how would you go about that?
Of raising awareness.
Or letting people know that they have the power to change the vibration of this planet.
Well,
and
that's kind
us.
of what I'm trying to do right now by growing the group that I have and trying to reach as many women as I can. It's just kind of trying to inspire them. I feel like humans are visual. If they see things, inspiration, they might have the motivation to do it themselves. So I kind of try to lead by example, and then also have my arms open and inviting and say, this is, you know, you can do this. This is possible. If I can do it, you can do it. Let's all do it. And just having a helping hand and to guide them in anything that I can help them with.
Well, you have a vested interest because you have a very young child at home.
Yes, absolutely.
So we have to make the world a better place for her too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all of the young people in the world. Now, do you think, or do you feel like people I mean, not people your age, but you know, we're going to go back like 15 and younger. Do you see them having more abilities?
I think so, but I think younger, 15 and younger, I definitely see them having more psychic abilities, more healing abilities, and things like that. The younger you go, the more childlike they are, and the more access they have to that. I also feel like there is a lot of conditioning that is happening in the younger crowd right now, which is, I mean, I'd say probably like the teens that are around right now. I feel like they're very closed off from a lot of it. So if we can help them, that would be great too. But also, you know, the children in society right now, it's so important for us as like the parents to raise them in this new way, and make sure that they are enlightened and informed about all of the gifts that are available to them, and
Yeah, because I know a lot of people from, like, you know, my generation, that wasn't acceptable. You know, it just wasn't acceptable, and you didn't talk about it, and you didn't do it, and, you know, so it's, a lot of people my age came out really late because, you know, we could, at that point, the fear was gone.
Yeah.
You know, and even in the 80s and 90s, there was still a lot of stigma attached to it.
Right.
You know, so, you know, I wish this was 20 years ago, you know, because then I would have a lot more time to use my gifts.
Yeah.
But lucky for you, you know, are you tapping into your psychic abilities? Do you feel like they're opening up and blossoming? And
Oh, I think they definitely are. I've been trying to tap in a bit more by doing readings, card readings, and things like that. It's still something that I am warming up to. I'm taking my time with it. I definitely know that I have these abilities, but it's something that I feel like I like to, you know, I'm learning it. I'm not just jumping right into it. So I think, as with anything, it's good to take your time and learn things thoroughly instead of just, you know, jumping in and saying, hey, guess what, I can do this. Like, I want to know, I want to practice and make sure I do it all.
Well, it's important to, like, pull your life experiences into that, because it's, like you said, you had said this earlier, it's hard to help people if you have no idea where they're coming from.
Right.
And we really certainly need to put ourselves into, and that's like the new norm is going to be putting yourself into other people's shoes and looking at it from their perspective. And then you have a better idea of how you can help them. Whether it's intuitively or not, it's still helping another person.
Yeah.
But we can't help them if we have no idea, you know, what an abused child looks like, or, you know, whatever the situation may be. So I think you're right in taking your time to, you know, because it comes with a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
again, we talked about this.
Yeah.
It does. It comes with a lot of responsibility. And, you know, there are a lot of people that don't see it that way or don't approach it that way.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's damage done, and, you know, you don't know because you walk away and that person has to go on living their life.
Right.
And you just dropped a bombshell on them.
Right.
Right, without any tools to
Yes.
fix it
Yep.
or whatever the situation may be. So I appreciate that you're taking that approach
Yes.
to it, because I think it's important.
Yeah. Trying to be very mindful and very confident at that point of when I start doing that. I could do intuitive readings and things like that, but as far as like tapping in psychically, I feel like that's something, I mean, I can feel things a lot, but yeah, certain things I kind of just want to take my time.
Well, wait till the next retrograde, then after that.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
The energies are supposed to go really bizarre
So
after
mark my
that.
calendar.
And when is that?
I think it's in December.
Oh, well,
I think
good.
it's December, so we have a few months.
And is the one that did we just finish going through the one here? Because
Yeah, I think last week was the 22nd, I think that was the last day of it. Something like that.
we'll have to reach out to our astrologer friend who was on the show,
Yes,
Jessica Pulio.
Yeah, she's awesome.
We'll get her to phone in maybe next show and give us
Yeah.
a lowdown on what's going on out there in the wide open universe.
Now, are you getting, are people finding you and saying, oh, I heard about you, I heard about your work, I heard about what you're doing?
Not really too much yet, but a little bit. I've had a few people, like I had said a couple of times, a couple of people are reaching out to me asking me how I have done what I've done, or you know, like what are you doing? Like, what's going on? And yeah, then I'll let them know. It's starting. It's definitely starting. It's just like we talked about before. You have to put yourself out there. You know, nobody can find you if you're hiding.
Right.
Yeah. So put it out there.
I am not hiding. I'm hiding. I'm not hiding. She found me. Everywhere I go, she finds me.
I know, it's true.
It's all good. So how can people get in touch with you?
So there's my Facebook group.
And it's called High Vibe Honey.
Yep, High Vibe Honey Tribe. And then we can connect on Instagram, which is the little @ symbol, and then High Vibe Honey. Or, yeah, that's it.
Your page. Your regular page,
Yep,
too.
my regular Facebook page, High Vibe Honey.
And Etsy.
Yep. There's a lot. Okay.
There's a lot.
If we're getting into that, yeah. You can find me on Etsy. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, the whole nine.
Do you have any questions for Devon?
No, I don't.
Well, we look forward to your progress.
Thank you. I
we
do
do.
too.
I can't wait. Yeah, I think it's going to be huge.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
hope you're ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah, keep yourself grounded.
Yep.
And you have your daughter, and she's pretty special. We talked about that
Mm-hmm.
too. So just be prepared.
Yeah. I already know. Yeah. I'm aware.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I can't wait to meet her. I haven't even met her yet. All this time.
Soon.
Yes, bring her
Yeah,
in next
we'll do
time.
that. Mhm.
I don't know if I had any more questions. I do have one more question I have to ask you, because I ask everybody this. So are there people who have been purged out of your life?
There are people I've, yeah. And then some that I've tried, which hasn't,
Tried to be purged?
yeah, I've tried to purge, and then, I mean, you know, you can't really do too much purging with certain people. But I think it's been all Yeah, you do a lot of work. We do a lot of work to protect our energy. We do a lot of work to raise our vibration, and you have to set healthy boundaries with people, and also expectations with the people that you love. Even though that might be uncomfortable sometimes for certain people to hear it, I think it's super, super important. You have to protect that energy that you work so much to maintain and to keep high. So.
Right. We were just having a conversation about this, in my life at the moment, and it's about, let's not mistake spirituality, for you being a welcome mat to be walked on or
Right.
taken advantage of. Spirituality certainly involves a lot of giving and kindness and those type of things, and sometimes people take advantage of that.
And setting boundaries is
You know,
okay.
and setting boundaries for yourself. Again, you work very hard at creating, this area around you that you want more peace in that area of your life. And there are people that sometimes don't appreciate that. And quite frankly, some people don't even understand that. They're not there yet. They're not evolved to that point. When you talk about energy or, that kind of stuff, they look at you like you have three heads. So,
Yeah.
And you
you
just
know.
smile back and say, okay.
Yeah.
So in regards to the expectation, sometimes, and Pam and I were talking about this, I think, especially for me in my life, that's an area that I need to work on. I expect or have expectations that people are going to treat me the way that I treat them.
Yeah.
Well, guess what, folks? It's not like that at all. So, and having expectations is really something that can impede your growth.
Yeah.
Have no expectations, and that's a very freeing concept. One of which I still need to do quite a bit of work on. So,
It's all of us.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we will. So I just want to make a couple of announcements. We will not be here next week because of the 4th of July holiday. So we'll be returning the week after. And you can go to our Awaken Soul Stories page to watch any of these episodes. And Awaken Soul Stories is also on Dream Vision 7 Radio, the syndicated radio program. And it's on Fridays at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. So,
Okay, for the next week or two, be kind to yourself. Have patience.
yes. Thank you, Devon.
Thank you,
Of course.
Devon.
My pleasure.
Hope you come back and visit us.
Yeah. Vibe a little bit more, but it was before that conversation that I had done that. It was a couple days before that we went for that walk and I took those photos.